Good morning, brothers and sisters. I wanted to once again make another video that's more music centric. And to be honest, what I'm about to talk about has entirely changed who I am as a musician and a songwriter and pretty much everything. But in 2012, I reached out to my favorite songwriter, and I think this topic too is very appropriate because amongst all the collaborations that I'm putting out recently, like my last punk song with Brady, my homage to the Foxfires with Brandon, all the collaborations on the new record that I'm putting out, there's one song that I'm working on that's separate from all of that, that for me personally is just the peak of it. And that's essentially the collaboration I'm going to be doing with this wonderful soul. His name is John Vineyard. He was the lead singer-songwriter for my favorite band of all time, El Gato, which in the late 90s and early 2000s was just peak neo-psychedelic grunge. Just probably the first band I've ever heard that had like a quote-unquote indie sound. And I reached out to him in 2012 once I was starting up my own solo stuff after getting out of pop punk and, you know, wanting to maybe do something a little bit more similar to what his music inspired me to do at the time. And I was like, do you have any advice for, you know, like a young songwriter that looks up to you? Like, you know, like I love your music, blah, 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 but like, do you have any advice? And I think that there's a lot of people that are in positions or have experience that, you know, might dread that question, and maybe that's why I was a little hesitant to even ask and reach out. But I'm so glad I did, because he reached back out to me, and you know, we've developed a relationship ever since, which is really cool. Like, we follow each other's projects and just have like a lot of like support. It's just really cool to have an actual personal connection with someone that inspired me to do pretty much all the things that I do. And he came back at me with, never stop writing. Unless it's like recorded and released officially, it's never done. And so that could obviously like put you in the trap of, I guess, constantly revising and reworking ideas, which is not a bad thing to do. I obviously do that. I have a lot of things that, you know, like I'm still working on, even up until the release of this new record, there's things that I was still working on, but it also, like, I took it so literally, instead of just like constantly working on whatever I'm working on, I would just keep writing new stuff, just keep making new stuff, even if like it took 10 years to finally get to and put out. Just constantly writing, constantly rewriting and revising. So I like literally took, I took his words of advice and ran with it and made it like my mantra, my life's mantra, like just constantly doing the work of creative and artistic expression. Not just, you know, like performing it or making music and lyric videos and doing live streams and all these different things, but like just the writing process in general. I've been experimenting with different ways to write a song, different ways to, you know, like here's an example actually. I think the most common one for me has always been, I have a melody in my head and I need to get it out somehow, whether it's through guitar, piano, or, you know, like just writing words to the melody in my head, and then I'll find music later. Starting with a melody that's in my head is the most typical one, but I've since then learned to start with just music and then try to find melody and words, or even the toughest one, which is starting with words and then trying to find the melody and the rhythm and the music to go to that. Because sometimes I'll even write down words that aren't really rhythmic, but I guess because I'm a little poetic, I do like to phrase out my poetry or whatever I'm writing in a very particular way, even if it's not too rhymey. So that advice literally changed my life from 2012 onward. So since then, I've written almost 300 songs. I'm writing songs professionally for other people, singing on their songs, and just really just in this constant state of flow. Like, as soon as I started learning how to record myself in 2022, which was, funny enough, 10 years after I first got that advice, and 10 years since I started my own solo project, and this writing process really snowballed. But I got into recording myself, and then I got into recording and singing for other people, and that just full-blown increased once again my songwriting and my process. Also not limiting myself to just how I want to express myself, but I get to express myself through the ways I used to, like with the Foxfires. It was more like grungy, shoegazy, so I get to express myself that way, like with dream pop and whatnot, through other people's projects, and the same thing with punk music as well. You know, like I get to express myself, which is fun because, you know, even though I don't identify with those parts of myself as an artist, part of like my own personal individual work of doing shadow work and doing inner child work is reintegrating old parts of myself that like I initially rejected, in wanting to change and to grow and I guess release old parts of me that don't serve me anymore. But the way that I was doing it was I was doing it by rejecting instead of like compassionately accepting and then releasing. So, and that's a whole different thing. I did a video on shadow work and whatnot. Maybe I'll get into inner child work as well, but the two are very intimately linked. So I think you can get a lot of that just from the shadow work video I put out. I think it was the first one I did, but yeah, I just wanted to make this quick video talking about the best advice I ever got from a musician that I've looked up to since 2002. So yeah, thanks for listening. And if you have similar stories, I'd love to hear from you. So definitely sound off in the comments. Thank you.